Yakmala, Yakmala! Welcome back, my friends, to the Cult Film Showdown. I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu, and I am pleased to be joined by my friends. Including Nick Boxer.
Greetings and salutations. I occasionally like to watch a movie, so I think I'm in the right place.
Yes, I do believe you are. And James Cotta.
That's Councilman Cotta to you.
Councilman Cotta, looking for mayor.
I'm using my leverage of this show to run for mayor.
Perfect choice. Mm-hmm. And Jack Hall, what are you trying to run from?
Well, I get the feeling that if we were actually going to the drive-in, that I'd be the one you guys would vote would have to sneak in through the trunk to not pay.
I think we'd notice. Somebody would notice.
We wouldn't be going to the drive-in, man. No, we were just tricking you to get in the trunk.
Yes.
And then, selling me, are you?
Then we drive the car off the cliff.
And then we go to the movies, but not the drive-in.
Yes. Well, so here we are. It's season 17. Enter the Octagon 2, Octagon Harder, and we have Jim to thank for our latest misadventure. Jim, tell us.
Yes, this is so we are in the Octagon where 8 season themes battle it out. This one being called "Let's All Go to the Lobby," and this film is really, I just wanted a way to get this film into the Octagon purely, really based on pedigree. Now this film is the film that is responsible for the movie within a movie of Hard Rock Zombies, which, as our listeners know, is the top of the Octagon currently. So I certainly wanted to see what its parents looked like. Basically, this feels like it's if not that it's either its dad or maybe its foster father or crazy uncle.
I think probably the uncle that takes you into the back and touches you in inconvenient, improbable places. Yes.
And that scene's not in the movie is a bit surprising given everything else it is.
It's absolutely right.
So it's important then that people know ahead of time it's nothing like Hard Rock Zombies, but rapier.
Well, let's have Nick tell us just how rape.
Yes, please explain American Drive-In.
Sure. This is a movie that celebrates the drive-in. It consists of a bunch of vignettes of people in the cars doing things that people do at the drive-in. You have the old ladies that can't hear the movie. You've got the mayor trying to catch these damn kids with their marijuana, and you got the gay cowboys, and you have the young couple who is in love being hassled by a gang of rapists, and you got a guy
the typical things you see at a drive-in, like you say.
Girl trying to get laid, and it's just a bunch of vignettes, and at the end, the stories sort of miraculously sort of come together and are all concluded at the same time in crash up derby type situation, combined with the third showing of a film or the third feature of the drive-in. It's fun. You got Hard Rock Zombies on the screen for the entire thing, curiously shown out of order, which I found kind of distracting. Like, hey, that didn't happen till way later in the movie. But oh well. It was fun. I liked this movie. It was actually really genuine. So
it was an odd thing that they basically wrapped up the movie, about 75 minutes in, and then had a completely, had something happen that was like, oh wow, you went off in a completely different direction for the last 15 minutes of it.
Yeah, but I actually found even the lesser storylines sort of played into that. I thought it kind of worked.
Totally. It's a really weird movie.
We're just gonna like sit around. Like,
Tonally, it's a really strange movie. I think that is like it's like getting the bends watching this film, because you have these bits that are super like silly comedy, and like the little person who is his character is an actor that's in Hard Rock Zombies. So it's like this meta thing of like it's an actor playing an actor who's playing a Nazi midget in Hard Rock Zombies.
Phil Fondacaro is one of my absolute favorite B movie actors. He's in Troll. He's also in one of the Ghoulies movies. Like, he shows up all the time. He's wonderful in these movies. So, I'm always happy when I get a chance to see him.
And he's so genuine as this character that he's at the drive-in watching himself in the movie, and he's commenting on like just how good he is in the movie. I was born for this role.
Yeah, as he winds up being on top of the cow and stuff like that. I mean, and then there's that really earnest moment, of the part where he's in getting the popcorn, and he doesn't have any money because, of course, he was in Hard Rock Zombies. So, I mean,
yeah.
Hard Ock Zombies.
Hard Ock Zombies. You have that, and then you have this like kidnapping, rape, attempted murder of her boyfriend story that is like, it's like they mashed up Time Bandits and Last House on the Left. Like, it's the two, like, just the tone shifts in this film are just so gigantic.
And it's really too bad, because everything that wasn't the girl and her boyfriend and the raping and the gang and stuff like that, I really liked, and I really wanted to see more of a lot of these characters, because they were funny and they were always, and it was always something new going on. But the main, kind of through line of the movie was this rape, and it was just like, wow. And everybody knew it was going to happen going in. I mean, it's just like you could see, hey, Beaver, and it's just like, yeah, she's gonna get raped. It's just like, I can see that from the first 5 minutes of the story, and there you go.
Yeah, to explain that "Hey Beaver" line, the couple is driving down the road, and the gang members, who all have their own cars and use CB radios, which is amazing. They see her as she passes by in the van, having seen her right shoulder and the right side of her face, obsess about her for the entire rest of the film. Because this woman is the hottest thing they have ever seen, judging by the upper part of her arm. The side of her face and her hair.
Because there's this moment where like, of course, she's out there at the hospital, and so the gang is still at the drive-in, and then for some reason the gang found women at the drive-in to go and be in their cars, and all I can think of is just like, hey, that woman is probably better looking, and I'll bet you she's way more willing to put out. Why don't you just go with her?
They do seem more interested in the raping than they are in the...
Yeah.
Once they've committed.
Togetherness.
Yeah, once they've committed to the... Yeah, it's really like they're just pals.
That was the whole thing.
Yeah, their loyalty to each other is one of the linchpins of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever seen a gang where they all drive individual cars. It's just like, it's really
well, especially given that they're all they're all a really weird, different kind of person in the gang. It's not like it's a consistent look. No, every one of them looks completely different from the other. They're just buddies.
They get along so well that they note that they've never even had an argument.
Mm-hmm.
They've been friends for years. They're so tight. Family that rapes together stays together. I don't know. They seem to have they have their own groove. Man, what a weird movie that is. And then you have the councilman who's trying to bust the drug ring.
The T ring. Yep.
The T, yes. He's calling it T. And that's probably the second biggest section of the film is him and his weird kids and that he keeps trying to get in the news media to cover him as he makes his bust.
Which, well, it does kind of go somewhere. It doesn't really go anywhere.
I think that the story his daughter hooks up with her boyfriend at the show, and it gives us the topless scene of the film, an extended topless scene, and. But at the end, when they resolve that storyline that he's not going to be mayor, his daughter basically gives the moral of the story. She says that she's glad he'll be around more because she really has been missing him, and she's not getting proper boundaries. That's why she's acting out.
Yeah, she's making poor decisions, and she needs to
making really poor decisions.
Yeah. And that's his fault because you're not around, so I make bad decisions. That explains.
It's like that's an after-school special, and
that explains us wanting to throw Jack in the trunk. Our parents weren't around enough.
Somehow I found that family lacked depth.
Well, there was a few that were there just for comic relief.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's trying to be American Graffiti, but the characters aren't developed or likable enough. It's not wholesome enough to be American Graffiti. It's not scungy enough to be anything.
Yeah. It's kind of weird because it's like you've got American Graffiti on one side, Dead End Drive-In on the other side, and I kept feeling like it was skewing more Dead End Drive-In, but then it would take a veering into American Graffiti every now and then and leave me completely off balance.
All right, let's go to scoring. This is in our search for the ultimate B movie. We rate each film in 5 categories, none of which are objective quality. The first category is called schlock appeal, and we start with Stan.
I will have to say that I think that we watched these in the right order ultimately, because when you see Hard Rock Zombies and the glory that is Hard Rock Zombies, when you sit down to watch this to kind of see its lineage, as you said earlier, I think that you want. Like the Hard Rock Zombies, you're just reminded of how good it was, and so then the rest of it is kind of weird, and it's like I'm really glad because I wouldn't have wanted this to spoil my viewing of Hard Rock Zombies is ultimately where I'm going, because this is really strange and there's some really good parts and there's some not so good parts, and so I think that. I'm glad that we watched it in this order, but at the same time, maybe it suffers because Hard Rock Zombies was so weirdly amazing. I can only give this one a 6.
Yeah, I think the schlock appeal is there with the rape, and it does have, it does have that slimy evil quality, but the rest of the film tonally is actually kind of enjoyable and pleasant other than this really gross subplot in there or plot.
I think Nick has a totally different definition.
I'm going to go with 6.
It's like, what is your definition of schlock?
Yeah. I mean, after I watch a schlocky movie, I should feel entertained, number 1, and number 2, slightly dirty and bad about myself for enjoying the movie.
So just to get this straight, you are not pro-rape. I just want to confirm that from the way you made that sound.
I'm just saying it is an element of schlock.
I think fair enough. I mean, the number of movies we have now seen.
Mm-hmm.
mean, you got to be. It's good that you've made him say it though, because like that would definitely take him out of the running for mayor.
Yes, that's true.
Wow. You know what? I'm quiet is because I don't enjoy a film, and I didn't enjoy this very much. But I will say it has that teen. I mean, I've seen a million of these teen '80s sex comedies, and this is just another one. But those, by their nature, do have a schlock sheen to them. So this has that sheen, but I'll give it a 4.
I think it's interesting when you talk about the teen sex comedy. The thing that I always find about the teen sex comedy is that no matter how annoying or like standoffish or potentially jerky the main characters are, you still feel for them and you still like them. That's at the heart of the best ones. That's always there, and I do think that that's the part that's kind of missing in this one.
Yeah, that's a good point, I think.
Yeah, I think someone clear to cheer for, because like I said, I mean it doesn't develop anyone enough outside of like the two leads, and
I'm not sure I like them.
Movie. Yeah, and they're just in a whole other movie. So Stan, you mentioned that having seen them in this order, where we saw Hard Rock first, I'm also glad of that. I think if we had seen them in the other order, we would have watched the other one. I think what I'm very curious about is from the rest of you is there enough in American Drive-In to understand what Hard Rock Zombies was even supposed to be?
No, I don't think so.
That's not the point at all. The point is just to have something called Hard Rock Zombies, so that the two old women can be watching it and be confused by the film.
It just because it's pretty random images. It was funny seeing them in this context, because stuff like the little person on top of the cow is not something I remembered off the top of my head about Hard Rock Zombies, but then it becomes like really key in this.
And don't get me wrong, I mean it's another great chance to hear a lot of Paul Sabu's awesome soundtrack work.
Yes, indeed. We hear that song almost as many times as we hear it, and hear Cassie in this like 4 times.
Isn't it strange that I found it less grating in this film than I did the last one?
Well, it's because of that drive-in sound. I mean, you've got the little tinny speaker. It adds to the ambiance. I'm going to give a 7 to this. I think that it really captures a lot of the drive-in feel, and some of the characters that would end up at the drive-in in this kind of waning time of the drive-in too. Mid 80s, we're starting to see the end of the drive-in. More heart than budget, and no idea what the budget was.
No clue.
No, this seems like it shouldn't. The thing is that
IMDb says 10 million, and I can't even imagine that that's correct.
Come on now.
That's it.
Even combined, even if you combine the budget of the two, there's no way it's...
I doubt it's a million between the two.
Yeah, exactly.
Might be 10 million yen.
Yeah, it's one of those cases where, like, the only thing that I can say is that it's got so much. Like, they tried to put everything into this movie, like at the expense of story, believe you me. But like, it's like you want a character, like they tried to introduce them driving in, and then they've introduced more. There's more people at this drive-in that you can imagine, and every trope and every stereotype. But at the same time, like, there's not a lot of money, because all you need is a drive-in and vehicles for the most part. So really, go with a 6.
I think heart is actually a strong suit in this movie. I mean, the mere fact that they, made another movie to sort of stick in this movie, and then completed that movie as well. Everybody's hearts were in this, and I have to say, there are no bad performances. There's, problems with the whole movie, but performance isn't one of them. I think this is high on the heart. I'll go with an 8.
Yeah, I can't go nearly as high, guys. I got a 3. And that is based solely on the scene where he gets the pop given to him. That scene had heart. But other than that, I'm just like, it's just generic 80s teen sex comedy, for me. It just didn't do it. So 3.
Oh shit, now we've lost Jim.
Is he?
Jim's just muted. Jim is just muted.
Okay.
I think much like American Graffiti, this is a tribute to a specific time. Like I said, it feels like kind of the end of we're about to see the end of that time as well. Like it doesn't have as much nostalgia feel. American Graffiti was about a time that had already passed. But this is, a type of movie that was about to disappear. It was a type of experience. I would love to have a drive-in right now. I wish there was a drive-in anywhere close.
A real drive-in, yes.
I drive-in, type drive-in, not someone who's got an inflatable screen. So I'm up to an 8 on this as well. What the fuck moments?
This one I really struggled with ultimately, because I think that when it all came down, like, there was moments where I thought that it was kind of what the fuck, but then it's like, well, no, because they're just introducing these characters and they're just going places. I mean, like, there's fun, like the the guy, the projectionist. Oh, they call this the greatest movie since The Sound of Music. Things like that.
And they're right.
Yeah, which I think are very funny. I mean, one of Phil Fondacaro's scenes where he's writing down stuff on a letter, which is really terrible and hilarious in its own right. And it's interesting because in the reflection you can actually see the end of a Revenge of the Jedi logo somewhere there.
I saw that,
so yeah. And then to me, like, I thought that really, like, the ending, like the second that you started, like, kind of Act 3, and our lead actress was on the scaffold in front of the screen with the gun, and she was, like, basically making the 4 gang members fight each other to get over the fence, or she was going to shoot one. I mean, and it took a totally different turn. Like, that to me was what the fuck, because that was so out of place for the rest of the movie. But I don't think that there was a lot that struck out to me as like, oh, well, that's very obviously what the fuck. It's not dead heat and it's storytelling. It tried a lot of things. It just didn't quite, move them along at the proper pace. I'll go with the 6.
Yeah. I think 6 is about right. Just the main girl's motivation. I mean, I didn't ever get why she was a bitch at all. Like, she was not in her right mind. Something was off, and you couldn't tell from this movie. 6. Weird elements, but not over the top.
What year was this again? Like 86?
85.
85. So 1985, the lead of the gang, his haircut, completely not what you'd be wearing in 1985.
Well, and that was what I mean, when I talked about each of the gang members had this completely different look. One of them, the brown gang member, absolutely did look like he belonged in 1985. The rest of them, I think you had the 70s, the 60s, and the 50s. I think you were going for every decade.
Yeah, pretty strange, really, that haircut. So it's a strong WTF on the haircut, and just this weird change from, like, even the one character who's like the comedy character of the gang suddenly being serious in the rapey scene, and just the rape scene in general, and then the final scene so serious, the climax of the movie, serious as a heart attack. Just that tonal shift is so strange. So I have to give it a 6.
Well, let's make it 6s across the board. I think I don't think the WTF is strong in specifics, but yeah, that incredibly weird tonal mix just knocks it up so much for me. 6 indeed, and memorable moments is the next category.
Oh gosh, I think I'll just remember this for being the birthplace of hard rock zombies. I don't think I'll actually remember any of it, honestly. So I'm gonna have to probably go with 3.
If I think of this movie again, it will be, ooh, I should watch Hard Rock Zombies. Isn't there another movie that's around that this was made with? Yeah, 2.
Yeah, you know what? When you say to me American Drive-In, you know what the first thought that comes to my head is those 2 old women in the car. That's not going to stick with me forever. If that's the first thing I think of, and then I remember the guy who played the mayor or wanted to be the mayor. Like, that's about it. It's just not sticking at all already. So, a 2.
Well, I'm the outlier here. I'm going to go all the way up to a 5. I think that Phil Fondacaro is what I'm going to mostly remember of this.
It's true. He's so brilliant.
And I think that when I next watch
the little person who's he's just
that's the character that really warmed my heart and stole the show every scene he was in. I know that there's going to be
most scenes he was by himself, by the way, where he was stealing the show.
Yeah. But but you didn't want to leave him. You didn't want to go off to any of the other characters. I just wanted to watch him for the whole. Like, I wanted to watch him watching art. If we could have like a picture-in-picture, like a Mystery Science Theater type thing where he is in character watching himself in Hard Rock Zombies, that'd be a thing. I
would be completely down with that. That would be the most brilliant thing. And just talking about him like he's the character in American Drive-In and stuff like that.
I know that at some point it's gonna leap into my mind the guy that is watching Hard Rock Zombies and clearly has seen it 15 times and is saying all the lines right before they're said in the movie.
That's true. Yeah.
It's so quintessential. All of his friends just getting increasingly annoyed for him for ruining literally every line of the film.
I just waxed the floor.
I like the little callback to that at the end where he says a line right before a real person says something.
Well, and there's so much ties between like the things that are going on in American Drive-In and then the scenes that they show in Hard Rock Zombies.
One of those shots that's going to stick with me is the 2 guys who have problems with their girlfriends are having a talk by the swings, and in the background are the 2 guys in Hard Rock Zombies, one of them pouring his heart out to the other guy that he doesn't know is a zombie. The framing of it, the way that they're standing, and then they both exit the frame at the same time.
I think the problem is if you just took the 40 minutes that didn't encompass the main actors and their story arc for the most part, I'd actually probably really quite like this movie. I just don't like the A plot.
Yeah, I wonder what is the least amount of that story that you can still have some sort of ending.
Yeah.
Although maybe if the movie if you never stop the film for the fight, then it's worth looking at. 5. Our final category is crazy concept.
One of the things that I had just noticed as we were talking is that on the IMDb in the user reviews, there's a 1-star review from 2004 that says, "Good Lord."
For a different film.
Yes, and I thought that was just absolutely hilarious. That is just like talking about like a Hollywood movie with script assistants and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, that sure isn't American Drive-In. But so that as a what the fuck, that gets a good high score. But from Crazy Concept, I think the craziest part of the concept is the fact that they decided to finish off making Hard Rock Zombies after after they made this, because this is so not really crazy at all. This just has so many elements of things that we've seen before.
You got to keep in mind, the Hard Rock Zombies was made because they were having fun making it. I don't know that they had as much fun making this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, or maybe they had a ton of fun making this. This could have been a lot of fun because there's so many different characters to go and visit. There's so many different things. They threw so much at the wall. I think the problem is for me as the viewer, there was too many elements that didn't work. But I think ultimately, as a drive-in movie, I kept thinking that I was watching Dead End Drive-In half the time, and so that's enough of a problem for me, so I can only give this a 4.
You're not dissing Dead End Drive-In now, are you?
No, because I actually think that Dead End Drive-In did a much better job of the nightmare element of a drive-in than this did. Like this, I felt like kind of wanted to go to that zone sometimes, but it didn't want to leave the American Graffiti side either.
We're a crazy concept, right?
Yep.
Yeah, nothing crazy about this. You can find other films doing this exact thing, and they're probably better. So, 2.
Yeah, I was giving it a 4. I thought that just the drive-in setting, basically. Other than that, the structure and everything else about the film, like you say, typical teen comedy. So I was giving it a 4. That's probably a little generous, but I'll stick with it.
I think the DNA of American Graffiti is strong in this. I think you could pitch to a producer that you're going to film almost the entire thing inside a drive-in on its downtime. Is pretty. I think that looks like saving money. I mean, I don't know what they spent the other $9.5 million on, but
Michelob. They spent it on Michelob.
Maybe they built the drive-in. I'm just going to say before I close out the Octagon here, 4 is what I'm giving it, and the Sky Drive-In Theater closed in 1994 after having been open since 1959. Its final movie was The Lion King, and since 1996, it has been the Sky Village Swap Meet.
Oh, okay. Which I feel like I've seen in other movies of like this, where a drive-in that has a swap meet. I feel like that happened.
I believe when we saw it, you said that was ridiculous.
Yes, because it seems completely ridiculous, but
it turns out it's a large area with room for parking, right off of a highway. All right, so that gives us a final total of 49 out of 100, which ties it with Son of Kong, King of the Kickboxers, Monolith Monsters, and Santa Claus.
That's a wide variety of stuff, but
that is quite a those 5 movies do not make any kind of marathon.
No. In fairness, I think though that American Drive-In has elements of every movie in it at the same time. So, yes, it was an odd one. Like, do you think that it suffered more for having elements of Hard Rock Zombies in it, or do you think that it was better because it had those elements?
I don't think it made any difference in this one. I do think you compare it to Hard Rock Zombies, and it doesn't compare, but I don't think it made any difference having the Hard Rock Zombies were such quick little clips that, just looked like a B film to somebody who's never seen it.
I think it's an interesting choice to do it that way, because they could have taken any number of public domain films, and had them watching Giant Gila Monster or Plan 9 or something like that. But I think if they had done anything like that, I would have been trying to put together the story of that movie, and it was a weird experience that I knew what that movie was and kind of moved on from it. I do wonder about if I'd seen this one first, like what I would have thought the plot of Hard Rock Zombies was.
Yeah, and if it would have like, confused you seeing Hard Rock Zombies and seeing like the fact that it was completely out of order in American Drive-In, and suddenly you're watching it in order in Hard Rock Zombies, and it's like, whoa, wait, what?
Well, and keep in mind, I still don't know what the plot of Hard Rock Zombies is.
Well, no, and that's and I mean that's just part of the glory, and thankfully they didn't really bring in the Hitler part in American Drive-In. We saw a little bit of it, but it was never the full reveal, and I think that reveal
never the full Hitler. That's usually a good. I find that to be a good, strong way to go about films. Never go full Hitler. It's like in Tropic Thunder.
All right. Well, Jim, let's do some business.
All right. We're the Cult Film Showdown. Welcome to the show. We are on Patreon. You can support the labor of love that we call the Search for the Ultimate B Movies. And we're on YouTube, where you can subscribe, and eventually can monetize that if we just get 1,000 or so more subscribers, and they all listen to all the episodes over and over, tell their friends. We can maybe pay for access to like the ad-free version of YouTube. We're sponsored by WeTalkPodcast.com, the home of the Octagon. They have a Facebook and they have a Twitter.
Excellent. They're awesome. And so are we. But, all right. So, Season 17, Enter the Octagon 2, Octagon Harder, carries on next week with the second Bananas First Promote From Within next season, where we will be doing the movie Hot Stuff. So that I guarantee that will be a different viewing experience than this.
I'm excited. I have no idea what that film actually even is.
But Jerry Reed and Dom DeLuise, I mean,
yeah, no, exactly.
You picked the film. What do you mean you don't know what it is?
I know it stars Jerry Reed and Dom DeLuise.
That's good enough for me.
Comedy.
It's more research than he usually does. So.
That's true.
Actually, I'm just impressed because he hasn't seen it.
That's also that's also a surprising thing. And tell us by the end of next episode, Nick, if it enters the rotation.
Yeah, that's the important thing. Will. All right. Well, I want to get onto that to find out that little tidbit there. So, does anybody have any reason we shouldn't leave? Nope.
I do.
Yeah?
Hey, if you like this, if you enjoy the show, enjoy the four of us, want to support us on Patreon, all this and that, if you like the four of us, then I suggest you check out another show on We Talk Podcast called We Talk Comics. The names may be different, but the voices may be familiar.
I don't know that show at all, so I'm not going to worry about it. I don't.
It's a whole podcast about stand-up comics. Is that what it is?
I like comedy.
So.
Interesting, yeah.
Comedy's fun.
If they have an episode about Joe Piscopo?
No, they're trying to have listeners.
All right. Anyways, for Jim and for Jack and for Nick, I am your host, 8th Dan Stanadu.